Welcome to the All the Stuff podcast, where we jam about money, clutter, and food, and the real stuff under this stuff. Join me, Lisa Carpenter, your resident food coach, along with my co-hosts, money coach Jen Turrell and clutter coach Lisa Sharp, as we help you release what's weighing you down and heal your relationship with food, money, and clutter from the inside out. Welcome to this episode of the All the Stuff podcast. I am one of your hosts, Lisa Carpenter, your resident food and nutrition coach, and I am here with my co-host, Jen Turrell, our money coach, and Lisa Sharp, who is joining us via phone today. So if you're watching on YouTube, you're going to see this little phone icon instead of her beautiful face, because that's how we roll. It was either not record episodes or let it be a little bit messy, and we prefer to, get messy. So, hey, Lisa, you can hear us okay?
Hey. I can hear you fine. I'm waving at you.
So, today,
you can't see me.
Today we're recording this, and Christmas hasn't come yet, but it's coming. And this episode is actually being released on Boxing Day, which here in Canada people know about. We talked about this on the previous episode. I didn't realize that people in the States didn't know what Boxing Day is, but it's like our big shopping day after Christmas. And it's also the post, it's the post-Christmas, like, oh my God, there's so much food in my house. There's all this new stuff. There's new electronics. There's wrapping paper. There's bows. And all of a sudden, all the pretty Christmas stuff is like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm like, oh, how much longer till we can take it down?
12 days, right? This night, or what is it?
Mm-hmm. So some people wait till New Year's. We tend to take it down a little bit earlier than that. But I thought today we could talk about not so much taking down the Christmas tree and, getting into the New Year groove already, but how to kind of purge our homes of the stuff that we don't want to have in it, like all the extra goodies, the turkey dinner that's left over. So in my house, I know me. It's not healthy for me to have a bunch of extra treats and stuff lying around because I tend to be a picker. I'll pick at things. I'll just pick at things all day long. And by the end of the day, I've eaten a whole bunch of stuff that, I didn't want to eat that doesn't really make me feel good, which goes against my whole rule of don't eat stuff that makes me feel like garbage. But this is the addictive nature of food, right? It's really triggering. Once you start eating that stuff, and if you've, indulged over the holidays, it's kind of like this perpetual craving that just won't let up. And it's really hard to battle your cravings when the food is right in front of you. So we tend to kind of move stuff out of our house really quickly. So after Christmas, we send it home with people, like things that I don't want in my house. I will process the turkey, so we've got extra for dinners and stuff. But I really just try and to remove it from my house. And I really advise my clients, if they're not wanting to continue to indulge, then don't kid themselves keeping it in the house. Move it on out, people. And people don't like to hear this. You can throw it out. Oh, what? How wasteful. You can throw it out. I promise you, nobody is going to die of starvation in another part of the world because you threw stuff out. But that belief that you're keeping it for something, again, that speaks to sometimes we get into this like lack mindset, like it's not going to come around again, or we don't want to be wasteful. But if food is a real trigger for you, that's something you want to consider is, how would I feel if I threw this out? Like, will you die? Will anybody else die? And will you live to see another butter tart? Yes, you will.
I've never had a butter tart.
You never had a butter tart
either? In another episode, was it? There was some other kind of dessert you were talking about that you loved that you were going to eat.
Nanaimo bars?
The what?
Nanaimo bars, or maybe mince pies. I don't know. There's so many. There's so many.
Which are slightly different than here. The mince pies I know because my husband's British. But,
got it.
And if the food is packaged still in some way, if people bring you cookies and bring you bottles of wine and bring you stuff like that you can actually take to a shelter or to a place and give to somebody else. Not your leftover turkey, of course, but
no.
But some of those things you can
some stuff.
That is true, yeah.
Some of it you can
It's funny. My husband is all about turkey curry. I like the turkey sandwiches afterwards. He does turkey soups and turkey curries. Those are his things.
Yum. So, Jen, what do you suggest in regards to what do people need to look out for after Christmas when it comes to their finances? Are the bills going to roll in? The gift card?
Usually there is a bit of holiday hangover with the credit card, when the credit card bills come in after the holidays. So a few things you can do to mitigate those, though, are have you gotten things that you don't want that you can return that have a gift receipt with them? Are there things that you got like gift cards that you don't necessarily want to spend where they are? If you do want to spend them, go ahead and spend them and use them. And honestly, Boxing Day and a few days afterwards, often there are good sales because everyone's trying to get rid of their Christmas inventory before the end of the year. So it is a good time to cash in those cards if it's something you actually want that you're going to use and it's going to make your life better. If it's not, there are some ways that you can cash them in. I didn't get the link ready because we just kind of decided to do this topic all of a sudden. But I'll find some links for places where you can cash in gift cards. And another thing is if you've got a new iPhone or a new iPad or a new television or a new anything electronic and you are replacing something that you already have, there are ways to either trade in, get cash for, or recycle those old electronics. A lot of us have electronic drawers with old chargers and old Blackberries and old Samsungs or I think I still have an old brick Nokia somewhere. I went through and sold lots of things that I could online earlier this year, which included like an iPhone 4 and, different things like that. But the really old ones, I wasn't sure what to do with. So I've been investigating, and there are places you can recycle them. And what they do is they take out those rare earth metals that are expensive and that are going to run out someday, and they recycle those. So at the very least, it's good to get those recycled so you're not just putting them in a landfill, because some of that stuff is expensive and difficult to replace in terms of our, the world and renewable resources. So at the very least, it's good to do that. There's also a few recycling programs for phones that I really like, which help women who have been victims of domestic violence, things like that, and who've had to leave everything behind. Getting them a cell phone can really help. So we have a shelter here in town in Flagstaff. You can probably look at your local shelters and see if any of them accept white phones to give to women who are escaping domestic violence situations. So that's another good use of it. And I think just kind of taking stock of everything that's in your home again and seeing what you actually want, what you don't, and can any of those things be converted into cash to help you pay off anything you put on your credit card for the holidays that it would be nice to get rid of as quickly as possible and to not pay interest on into the new year.
So I'm going to jump to Lisa Sharp because I want her to talk about guilt of returning things that you don't like, right? We can take it back, we can get money, which is great. But I know that a lot of people attach guilt to that, like they have to hang on to things. I was going to say something else, but it slipped my mind, so hopefully it'll pop back in. But again, this is, when you're over 40, these things happen. Stuff falls out. So go for it, Lisa.
Yeah, I told my daughter to get the sriracha out of the oven last night, the sriracha that I wanted for my food that was in the refrigerator. So, yeah, she just looked at me like, what? I was like, refrigerator, not oven. I'm 45. Don't ask. Just, yeah. So, yeah, that definitely happens, with maturity. The guilt with, presents is such a massive source of, and like, people really hang on to stuff because they feel guilty, because somebody spent a lot of money on them, because they're afraid that, their great aunt Gertrude is going to come over to their house in a couple of weeks and she's going to be distraught if you don't see the Elvis painting over the mantle. There's all kinds of reasons why we hang on to stuff, but guilt is really not a good reason to keep something in your home. Because, if you think about, like, you have a limited amount of space. We all do. And, yes, some of us have bigger homes where you can just sort of keep stashing stuff in little corners and rooms and junk rooms and closets and whatnot. But the fact is that we're going to have to deal with it at some point in our lives. And it's really sort of clogging up our space. So, I would really much prefer if we just kept things that actually made us feel good, and release the things that didn't or that don't. So, and the fact is that when people give us gifts, there isn't like this we can sort of put more meaning into the gift than there actually is a lot of the time. You know, like people will be like, oh yeah, I don't even remember I gave that to you. Or, you know, like I have had that experience in my own family where somebody's come back and been like, oh, can I have that sweater? That's really cute. And I'm like, yeah, you bought it for me. Right? Like they don't even remember. And they bought it because it was something that was on sale that looked really cute on them. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really okay to let some of this go and just acknowledge that we give gifts as a showing of love and affection. And it really, the item itself often really doesn't have that much value. It's just something that we picked up because we were thinking of somebody. So, or because we had to, honestly, you know, because we do have this sort of feeling of like it has to be equal. There's this reciprocity when we're doing gift giving. So it might not even really have very much meaning other than I'm giving you this thing because, you know, I feel like I have to. I feel obligated to, which is a whole other topic. But yeah, it really is okay to let things go. And okay, so and my final point on this is that if you can return it, great. If you can get credit for it and buy something else that fits, that serves you better, that whatever, great, do that. But also consider giving it to charity. Yeah, you can re-gift it, you know, and for some people that's the way that they like to deal with this sort of stuff, and that's fine too. But consider giving it to charity if it's something that is like brand new, it's, you know, decent quality, and it's just something that you just don't really love because, you know, our problems are such first world problems, right? We have so much stuff that it's a problem. And so many people just don't have that, or only ever get secondhand things, or only get things where there are pieces missing, or, you know, they're kind of run down. And how cool would it be for someone to receive something that is in brand new condition and that, you know, might be absolutely perfect for them, or it might be, you know, maybe somebody's in a thrift store one day and they find this brand new item that they know that someone that they love would really like to have. And it costs 1/10 of what it cost you or cost the gift giver who gave it to you. So it's like, I think, you know, just sort of opening our eyes to all the different possibilities in our stuff and in the gift giving season, and how it's really okay to just let this stuff flow. You know, it's like when we just sort of squirrel it away in our homes, that's when we start feeling really heavy and stuck and like we have too much stuff and we're sort of cranky and makes us irritable because there's just too much stuff. And, you know, human beings aren't meant to have as much as we do. That's just sort of where we've ended up. And that's part of why we just don't feel so good. So yeah, it's okay. Let it go and sing it. Sing it. Let it go.
Let it go. I think it's important for us to talk about this guilt, right? Because we want to make the guilt about the thing. We want to make this guilt about being outside of ourselves. And guilt gives us a huge opportunity, nobody's going to like this, about getting curious about what's really going on for you. So some people, their love language, and if you've never read the book, The 5 Love Languages by Dr. Gary Chapman, I think it is, some people, their love language is gift giving. So if you're a gift giver, and that's how you express love, for you to receive a gift and then want to return it may be the source of what your guilt is about, right? Because for you, that gift is all about love. Like it means more. Whereas what Lisa said was so true. It's the act of giving the gift. That's where the love resides. It's not about the actual thing. The guilt around throwing out food, right? What is that really like? If you get really curious and start journaling about what that guilt is about, what is it attached to? Did you not have enough food growing up? Do you equate throwing out food to being like a snob, or, you know, because we all have different stories around money and people with money. Well, they're wasteful, right? Do you attach different judgments to it? So there's a real opportunity here to head into the new year with a different relationship and a new perspective on what guilt is for you, because guilt is not actually an unhealthy emotion. Shame is unhealthy, but guilt is actually a very healthy emotion. It allows us to open up and see other perspectives if we're willing, or it can take you under and drown you. And I think that unaddressed feelings of guilt can actually start to spiral into feelings of shame. right? So there's my thoughts on that for you. Jen, you got anything to add?
Yeah, I was also thinking as you were talking about that, I was remembering a story, I think this is from a Brene Brown book, where she was talking about going to a camp, or somebody was going to a camp, and the waste from each table was measured at the end of the day, and the goal of the camp was to have no waste. And what it made everybody do was, each table, the weight of the waste was logged each day. And so they tried to improve it each day, which basically came about to carefully measuring your portions in the first place. So how much do you really want to eat? And one thing I think about with throwing out food, it does feel wasteful, and I do feel guilt about it. It's true. But I think that, and some of it is just like hearing how wasteful America is as a nation, like the fact that the food we throw away could probably feed another nation. It makes you think more about the portion size that we actually want to eat to sustain our body in a healthy weight. Like, don't cook so much more than what a family of 3 or 4 or 5 or however many you are need to eat, and then eat as much of it as possible. I mean, I think looking at the waste around the holidays can really inform the way you want to be cooking and eating the rest of the year. And obviously this is Lisa Carpenter's wheelhouse, but it was just making me think about that fact. Like, if waste of food feels really bad for you, the way to tackle it is the front end of the buying the food and the cooking.
Exactly.
Rather than the throwing out at the end.
Do we need to bring in trays and trays of goodies? Like, do we need to do all this baking and all this stuff so that we have all this stuff on hand in case we have a bunch of people over, right? Well, nobody, you don't need to have a dozen of everything. You really don't. So if you want to cook, you can, give baking away. I know a lot of people give it away, which I personally love when people give me baked goods, which I know sounds odd because I don't bake for the specific reason of I don't want a ton of this stuff in my house because my kids will eat through it like, they've never seen a cookie before. Cookies don't usually come into my house. My poor kids are so deprived. They'll be cookie fiends when they're older. Whatever. Right. That's why they'll have to go through therapy too. But I really love that, really thinking about what portions do you want to bring in, only bringing in the things into your house that you really, really love and not just buying a bunch of crap. So it goes back to saying, like, where, if you've got a bunch of stuff left over, what can you do better next year? What do you want to change for next year? Even around the gift giving, right, Lisa Sharp? Like, what can you change for next year? I've talked about how I'm giving more experiences. So there is no waste. There's nothing. Go out ski, right? Or go out, do whatever I bought you a thing for. There's no waste. There's, Lisa, do you want to say
absolutely. Well, 2 things. I do think that, starting, like, this is a good time of year, like, post-Christmas to sort of do, an evaluation of what happened this year, sort of like in project management, where you like the last step of the project is to review the whole thing and then see, make notes of what you can do better in the future. And we can do that with Christmas. I know that sounds like really, I don't know, corporate or something, but really, I mean, because we forget, because Christmas happens once a year, but like we have like amnesia from season to season. We're like, oh yeah, I did say I really hated that, or I don't want to do that again. So like, make some little notes for yourself. You could even make it like a Google Doc or something and put it in your Google Calendar for, I don't know, like mid-November of next year. I do this for myself because my brain is turning into mush. So I put notes in my calendar far in the future so that I'll remember what in the heck I was thinking at that time, or write it in a diary or stick it in the folder or something. But, having whatever way that you actually can track that. So, think about, like, what did you really enjoy giving? What did you really enjoy receiving? What worked, what didn't work, what party did you like going to, which, my husband said recently, he kept trying to convince me to go to this party. You really want to go to this party? And we finally went. We're not party people. We're just not. We're like homebodies, Netflix, we're happy, right? So we go to this party and he was miserable. It made me laugh so hard after that because he was like, let's get out of here. And I was like, right, this is why I don't like going to parties, right? Like, I gave him the reasons. It wasn't like these weren't like really good friends of ours or anything like that. It was just sort of a seasonal party sort of thing. And I was like, yeah, okay, I want you to remember this the next time you hound me for 2 weeks to go to a party of this ilk, because you don't like doing it. I'm actually okay with it, but he was totally miserable. But it's like we forget who we are sometimes, because it's sort of aspirational, like this is what you're supposed to do and this is what it would be like and da da da. But in reality, it's like, you don't like doing this, just don't do it. So that's one thing, like just sort of, taking notes on what's going on so you can remember. And the other thing is one of the mantras that I said to my kids all the time when they were little, and I say this all the time in my house and in my business, is that just because you can doesn't mean you should. That's right. All right? So just because you can eat a dozen cookies doesn't mean you should. So that's what I used to say to my kids when they were really little. It was like, yes, you can sit down and eat an entire, gallon of ice cream, but should you? Probably not, because the result of that is you're going to make yourself sick, right? You can spend a bunch of money on gifts, and you can put them on your credit card, and you can, put all these extra things in your house. But should you? Does it make you happy? Is it actually, think it all the way through. So, just sort of reining that in, like what Lisa was saying about, do we really need the dozen cookies? Do we really, the excess? No. And we can, and aren't we lucky to live in a world where we have all of these resources, but honestly, it really, bottom line, it makes us pretty miserable. So, just kind of scaling back, just think about that. Just because you can doesn't mean you should.
I love that.
I think a good exercise to go along with this review, too, would be to look at the credit card statement after the holidays and see if you actually remember what you purchased from each place. What did all that money go towards, and does it feel worth it now?
Yeah, I agree.
And if it doesn't, write yourself that note and say, remember last year where I spent this much per person and it really didn't seem that much happier than the year my kids and I made gifts, or, we made edible gifts and gave them to people, or we went on a trip with my family instead of all buying each other gifts or something like that.
Yeah, I agree. This has been, I think it's been a great episode. I think it's really great to reflect on things like that. And I'm looking forward to doing our episode on setting intentions for the new year, because I know I've got some stuff that I want to talk about that in regards to my own ongoing saga with my debt and my debt repayment, because so much has changed for me. But I wanted to wrap up this episode and quickly talk to you about what's going on actually today. So today is Monday, December 26th, which, as I said, is Boxing Day here in Canada, which is where I am. People shop on Boxing Day. And I have opened the doors again for my signature nutrition program called EAT, stands for Education, Action, Transformation. And why this is a big deal is I have opened the doors again at its current price, which is $8.97, or you can do 10 payments of $97. And then I'm going to be closing the doors, and it won't reopen again until February is when the doors reopen. And that's when I'm going to be teaching live. So you'll have access to the content right now, but the live classes won't start again until February. So why this is a big deal is the price is significantly going up in the new year, because I'm adding so much to the program. After those 6 weeks of live calls, I'm going to be teaching monthly. I'm going to be doing monthly coaching calls ongoing. I'm also going to be bringing in guest experts to talk to the members of this group. So it's like a membership program, but without ever having reoccurring fees. You pay once and you're kind of in for life. So if you're looking to start the new year really committed to having a different relationship with food and your body, and really committed to your own personal self-development, this is a great time to hop in. So I think the doors are only open for 3 days. Then, like I said, I'm closing it down. And the best part, which I know Jen Turrell really loves this, is inside my program, once you've taken my program, you can become an affiliate. So if you sign up now, in January when I reopen the doors, any affiliates in my program get a 50% thank you gift back, which means one referral in January and you've completely paid off your investment for a lifetime access program. And I know Lisa Sharp is already in there and she loves it. Right, Lisa?
I do. It's so awesome. Life-changing stuff. Yes. Good group. Yep.
And I'm going to be joining you guys. So whoever joins now,
yay.
I'll be there with you. We can all talk about it. It'll be good.
So you can create this new relationship with food. You can earn some money back to help you buy some clothes, drink your body, right? You can have a new perspective. You'll get to hang out with all of us even more because they'll all be in the group. So, which is pretty awesome. So I will leave on that note. If you're listening on iTunes, please remember to subscribe, rate, and review. This is how new people find us. And I think 2017, we're going to be setting some big intentions around this podcast and really growing our audience and really making sure that we're giving you guys what you need, really getting a lot of feedback from you so we can provide awesome value and conversations with topics that you really want to hear about. So I will toss over to Lisa Sharp.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait. Oh, we have so much good stuff coming up in 2017. Yeah, and so if you'd like to come over and just hang out with us a little bit more, come over to our private Facebook group where we just hang out. We can have discussions about whatever we've been talking about in any of the episodes, and you can get all of the support that you would love. So we'll put the link to that below.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel and leave us a comment below. Let us know what's going on with you. And don't forget to come to the Facebook group, too. That's where we really hang out the most to talk.
Which is awesome. So enjoy this day after Christmas. I hope everybody is putting their feet up, relaxing, doesn't have too bad of a food hangover going on. And we will be back next week to talk about intention setting, not really goal setting, but intention setting for the new year. See you, ladies, soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.